I've had the opportunity to playtest INZOI now twice over the last year, so I've kind of experienced a lot of the game and discovered some hidden gems along the way. So that is why today I want to be sharing with you 10 features that you might not know in INZOI. If you follow me on Twitter or TikTok, you might have seen some of these already, but if not, I will leave the links down below. And now let's jump right in. So our first feature in INZOI that you might not know is something that I definitely haven't experienced in a game before, and that is the ability to change and customize the UI. It's really as simple as dragging and dropping all of the different data points on screen. You just drag and drop and reposition them so you can make it work with your gameplay style. Maybe you like everything on one side or along the border of the screen. From an accessibility point of view, I think this is amazing because it really gives players control of how they play. And from a content creator perspective, I think that will be really useful so you can reposition everything according to where your camera is and so that the viewers can see everything. Kind of a random feature, but definitely one that I think will be useful. Moving on to feature number 2 is the dreams and nightmare system. So the INZOI devs have talked a little bit about this, about how in a lot of life simulation games, the sleep phase is ignored. Characters go to sleep and then time is fast forwarded and they wake up the next day, and life doesn't really stop when you sleep. Why not offer something a little more interesting during the sleep phase? A little bubble will appear above your INZOI's head of whatever dream they're having. It will kind of give you an insight into what they're experiencing, feeling, what they're craving, what they want to do, such as space. My Zoi had a desire to go to space. But if you see this 4-leaf clover above your Zoi's head, that means they're experiencing a wave of luck. And the first thing your Zoi should do immediately when they wake up the next morning is go and buy a lottery ticket, because they will have a 100% success rate. You can also go to a tarot card reader to learn more about what your dreams mean, and this can help you throughout your gameplay and just adds a bit of realism. This brings us to the third feature, because the INZOI team decided to further expand on this dreams and nightmare system by introducing sleepwalking. So involuntary activities that your Zoi might do whilst they're asleep. So 2 examples of this is my Zoi actually had a desire to go to space, and whilst sleepwalking, they booked space travel for themselves. It's a state where the player, so me, couldn't control the Zoi at all. And my Zoi just booked themselves on a space travel tour and they disappeared the next day. And another thing your Zoi can do is donate all of their money to charity whilst sleepwalking. So your Zoi will wake up the next day and quite literally have no money left in their bank account, and you'll get a text saying thank you for donating to this charity. So there's kind of an interesting gameplay result from these involuntary activities, and again, another really interesting element that your Zois can do whilst asleep. Next up, we have the ability to customize billboards. So this is in Do1. In the edit city, which is in the director's mode, you can customize a bunch of different things like the trees, the plants, the animals in the city, but you can also customize the billboards. So you can upload pictures or videos, and they will actually display on all of the screens around the world. So here I'm just changing it to a logo of mine and a YouTube video, and the video will be on in the background whilst your Zoi goes about their lives. This is such a interesting addition to the game. There's a couple of different fun gameplay ideas that I had. You could make a famous Zoi, have a photo shoot with them, display some of those pictures around, or maybe your Zoi's launching a brand or a product, and it could be really cool that they purchase billboards for marketing. So a little bit of imagination, but I think the gameplay outcome of this could be super fun. If you don't want to customize the billboards, there are a bunch of default options as well. Next up, we're moving on to a feature in character customization, which might be something that you have already discovered if you were able to get your hands on the character creation mode demo, which was available, I think, a couple of months ago. But basically, that is the ability to have asymmetrical faces. So there was a little toggle down at the bottom where by default it is on to symmetry, but if you turn that off, you were actually able to customize features individually. So you were able to raise one eyebrow or make one eye smaller or bigger, or have one side of your jaw higher or lower. Realism in this game is truly incredible, and I think that is such a important detail for a lot of players who want to be able to make themselves in these games but don't have the control and don't have the option to edit that kind of detail. But before we move on, I have to tell you about a game that has truly blown me away. It's got fashion, adventure, cozy vibes, and I think you're going to love it. I want to tell you about a game called Infinity Nikki. It's a cozy open world adventure game and the sponsor of this video. Imagine a beautiful, magical open world which you can explore, meet whimsical creatures, and discover new places, whilst designing and crafting outfits that unlock special powers. Think Barbie meets Mario meets Zelda, and that is the ultimate ultimate combo. In Infinity Nikki, you are joined by your companion Momo as you explore the beautiful lands of Mirrorland, a bright and dreamy fantasy world. And through your adventures, you'll need to unlock ability outfits that have special powers, which will help you do things like float or glide or interact with animals. And along the way, there is platforming and puzzles to solve, so there's really a lot to explore. But it's not all about exploring and solving puzzles, because there are a bunch of chill activities too, like fishing or bug catching. And there's even a photo mode where you can take such beautiful pictures. And if you love fashion, I love the dress up in this game, because not only are there magical outfits, but you'll need to mix and match different pieces to create your perfect look and express your personal style. If this sounds like your kind of vibe, you can pre-order Infinity Nikki through the link down below, and make sure to follow them on social media for all of the updates. All right, moving on to our next feature, we have the karma system, which is something that I did talk about a little bit in my gameplay videos, but something I discovered along the way is that you can take this karma to the next level and actually scold Zois who have really bad karma. So in your kind of world overview, you have a list of all of your Zois living in the world, and they'll be ranked from good karma to neutral, slightly bad, terrible. If a Zoi has a terrible karma, you can scold them. Basically, from the player's perspective who's been scolded, you'll be given opportunities to improve your karma, which you can either accept or you can reject and then just stay as a bad person. One of those examples brings me to my next feature. You'll get a text from Green Planet who are offering to participate in a reducing plastic campaign. It will require you to do some cleanup and be a good person for a few days. You can accept it and join the campaign, and it will improve your karma, or you can reject it and stay as a negative person, negative reputation, and bad karma. So the choice is yours. You can either be a good person or a bad person, but you will be given opportunities to change your karma. Next up is a feature that unfortunately I didn't really get to explore as much as I wanted to, and that is the photo and video studio in the game. So INZOI have given us a feature where you can take your Zois to this photo studio lot in the world. There's one in Dowan and there's one in Bliss Bay. At first, it's just a studio and you can go in build mode and drag a bunch of props, basically the build catalog, so you can build different sets. Or there's a couple of pre-made sets in a laundrette, in a plane, a TV, a live studio, and you'll be able to actually tell stories with your Zois. So you can take photos or videos, you can direct them, you can also use the facial capture software to have your Zoi move their mouth and deliver lines. So you can write them a fun script. I think that's a really great idea. But also just a really cool way for you to capture memories and some fun gameplay opportunities, I think, like photo shoots, launch products. You could do celebrity meet and greets. I don't know, fun little gameplay ideas like that. Moving on to a gameplay feature that I explored in one of my last gameplay videos for INZOI, and that is the ability to steal and then the consequences of stealing, such as going to jail. So it was really funny because my Zoi was stealing the entire video. My entire 20-minute video, they were stealing constantly from work. I think they worked in a supermarket, and they were just constantly stealing money from the cash machine and stealing jewelry. And there was not really any repercussions. The Zoi was just kind of continuing about their life for about a week and nothing happened. Then we got a little bit too confident and my Zoi went over to a policeman who was just walking the streets, the police patrol. You'll see them around the world a lot. And my Zoi attempted to extort the police officer, which was where I went wrong. Immediately, the police officer threw his hands up, sent me to jail, handcuffed me. I think I was actually sent a text to either pay a fine of 1,000 meow or 3 hours in police custody. So for research purposes, we didn't pay the fine and we went to jail. Unfortunately, this lot is actually not accessible right now, but I do kind of feel optimistic that that lot eventually will be playable. But your Zoi goes to jail and is in police custody for a couple hours, where obviously you can't control your Zoi, and then your Zoi is free. The INZOI devs, though, have actually spoken about expanding this even further, so I think this is a feature that they're going to be working on. Maybe something you can actually play in jail. I'm not sure, but they have spoken about perhaps expanding that feature. Okay, this brings us to our last hidden feature of the game. Maybe you know this one, maybe you don't, but it is the ability to add filters to your game. So there's a few different filters. One of my favorites is the cartoon one. I really love the animation style. If you're not a fan of the hyperrealism of INZOI, I think this is a really good option. But this is actually available through gameplay. So it's not just in photo or video auto mode, you'll actually be able to live out your Zoi's lives with the filter on, and it just makes it feel like a completely different game. So that is it. That brings us to the end of 10 features in INZOI that you might not know. Let me know if you actually knew any of these, or which one your favorites are, which ones you're most excited for. I've still got a bunch of INZOI content that I haven't done anything with yet, so if you have any specific questions or anything you want me to show, let me know down below and let's see if I can do another video. Also, if you haven't seen my other INZOI videos, I will leave them linked down below as well. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!